Hey guys, Professor Bell, Comic Book University, and Batman issue number 74. Really strong issue. This is a fight. This is definitely happening in this issue. There's a fight. On top of that, gives a callback and makes other comic books that happen in this series relevant. The only way to salvage the problems that we'd had with the previous issue, with several of the previous issues, almost completely rectified in this book. Between this and the one where the one issue where Bane and Thomas Wayne are talking about all the stuff that they did to Batman so far. Anyway, let's get talking about this issue, starting off with who made the book. We got the Fall and the Fallen, the conclusion. So that means next issue is going to be the City of Bane, the beginning of it. Tom King is the writer. Michael Janin is the artist. Jordi Belair is on colors. Clayton Cowles does the letters. Michael Janin also does the cover. Juan Jimenez did the variant cover, and Bob Kane took all the credit that Bill Finger did for the creation of Batman. First off, let me just talk about the art in this comic book. God damn, it's good! Okay, now that that's done, and there's really no argument. I can't see there being an argument in this comic book, man. There are beautiful backgrounds in the desert where a background shouldn't really be that necessary, and yet you get a bunch of beautiful backgrounds. Scenic, gorgeous in its simplicity. It is beautiful. Damn it, Michael Janin is a freaking master at the craft. This book, wow, really good. As far as the story itself, we get a reason for that stupid, and it's not stupid anymore. At the time it was stupid. Now it's like, oh, I get it. We have an aha moment. Remember in the Cold War series, whatever it was, when he was Batman was going up against the guy who shot Robin recently, now it's Rick, shot Nightwing and turned Dick into Rick. I know his name, Jim Starlin creation. I just can't think of it right now. Anyway, somebody will mention in the comments, and I appreciate it. What do you call it? That story that was in that issue with the pig who was tricked into eating himself. Yeah. The reason for that story becomes apparent in this issue. One of the only ways to solve some of the problems that we've had in the previous issues is by explaining those issues in a way, especially if you're going to do it in a way like this comic book approaches it, where it's a callback. And it's not just, hey, the reason why such and such and such is because, no. It's more like, hey, do you remember? No, I'm serious. It actually says that. Hey, do you remember that one story? I don't even remember how it ended. Do you? Well, that story, it's kind of important because, and then we get the reason why. And we get two different versions of the explanation of that story in here. Batman and Batman, New 52, Crisis, Flashpoint Batman. So the Bruce and Thomas Wayne's Batmen. This is a book that's going to leave you thinking. This is a book that's going to remind you that even though Batman is a little bit, I wouldn't say subservient, but he takes the beta role in this to his father, as most men should, right? Plus he knows that this is not his actual continuity father. His father died. There's a conversation about his mother. We don't get another damned Batman origin story in here because that would have killed me. This amazing book would have just killed me. Instead, what we get is a solid story without a retelling of anything, but a reminiscing of both versions of what happened and what's left over. Guys, I'm telling you, take the time to read this book. Like, to me, redemption. Can we actually say that for Tom King? Redemption. Because there's a bunch of stories with a bunch of songs and a bunch of stories and a bunch of blah, 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 blah that were just a killer. But at least one of the more recent ones, we finally get an explanation for it. We're seeing that Tom King is playing the long game. Look, man, look. King still has a lot to reconcile as far as this run on Batman. Even though we're not done, I'm talking about it like it's already over, right? But we know that it's coming near the end right now. In my opinion, there's still a lot to reconcile. He has several more years of putting out good, consistent work, in my opinion, before he can write a book like this, or I should say a run like this. If King would have done more Mr. Miracle books, more Vision books, you know what I'm saying, that he did over in Marvel, if he would have done more books like that before he tackled this run on Batman, it would have been something amazing. It would have been something that we could have all sat down. It would have been less likely that we'd be upset at what we're reading because we've better understood what King was doing. For the most part, I think that most of us, myself included, are still going to stand by the criticisms that we've given, because a lot of those lengthy issues, filler issues, and they were filler issues. There's no debating that. Many of these issues were filler issues. But I don't think that Mr. King had earned being able to give us those kinds of issues yet. Because if we would have known what we know now after reading an issue like this and several of the other issues, and of course his work as it stands, I think that we better would have been equipped to say, it's okay, we know that Tom King likes to play the long game. Everything that's happening here is going to be addressed at some point in the future. It would have been that confidence, but he hadn't built that trust with us yet. So I'm gonna shift a little bit of the ire that I've developed for King's writing style. Let most of it go, but shift some of it. I'm still holding on to some of it because unfortunately that was earned by not earning what we know by what he's done now. Okay, now I'm starting to double talk on myself, but you get what I'm saying, I think. All right? You got to earn writing something like this. I see what you're doing now. Doesn't excuse what happened before. Still, I'm looking forward to this concluding, and I think a lot of us are going to be really upset once it ends with a positive spin on that. Like, oh crap, it's really over. What are we going to get now? Anyway, looking forward to it. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.